Good morning, everybody. It's Recovery Concepts Daily Recovery Snack. I'm Chris. Welcome and thank you for joining. Hope this finds everybody well and warm. Got a little cold snap in Southwest Virginia. 25 this morning, frost on everything. It is spring officially. I think it was 84 the day before. Kind of crazy. But hey, that's weather. Who wants to talk about weather? I can tell I'm getting old. Actually, every once in a while, I like to talk about the weather. All right, y'all, let's dive in. From God Grant Me, meditation book from Hazelton, Saturday, March 14th. Quote from Oscar Wilde: seriousness is the only refuge of the shallow. One of the gifts of recovery is learning to laugh again, especially at ourselves and our silly little problems. Our egos make us take ourselves way too seriously. They tell us that we are the center of the universe. This is not true. When we find ourselves taking ourselves too seriously, we have lost perspective. We need to get to a meeting and call our sponsor. Recovery teaches us what is important. We learn that spiritual principles are much more important than petty conflicts and concerns. The program tells us to put principles before personalities. If we can do this, we'll gain perspective and humility. We'll also lighten up, smile, and laugh again. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me keep my problems in perspective. Allow me to be a humble servant. Remind me to place spiritual principles before ego. Today's action. Today I will write down 5 examples of times when I took myself too seriously. What spiritual principles could have helped me do things differently? Wow. So today's actions. Today I will write down 5 examples of times I took myself too seriously. Okay, so for me, let's pick that up to the first 4 decades of my life, maybe 5. Real easy. Don't even, well, I guess I need to do what it says and write it down. But, what did it say up here? Our egos make us take ourselves way too seriously. They tell us we're the center of the universe. This is not true. Sometimes in my groups, I talk about a buddy of mine shared it at some point in time during the journey. Then it made a lot of sense to me that he said that he felt like he was an egomaniac with an inferiority complex. And that resonated well with me because for some reason, and I don't know exactly why, I have thoughts on it, but for some reason I can relate to that very, very well because I thought that I put unreasonable, but the big book talks about unreasonable expectation, putting them on others and ourselves, and that was one of the biggest ones with me. I correlated me not having an answer, or me saying, I don't know, or me tripping and falling as all things that shouldn't have occurred. I felt like I was less than, or that I was ignorant, stupid, or uncoordinated, or whatever the case may be, depending on what had occurred. But it's like I placed an expectation on myself that I was supposed to live perfectly all the time, or at least the perception of. And man, hell, that's a high bar to hit, man. That's really, really difficult. And I don't know. Nobody told me I was supposed to be. Now, I've had people tell me other things in my life that I've kind of gotten away from growing up. A lot of my raising came from grandfathers and a lot and men in the community, uncles and things of that nature or whatever, due to mom and dad splitting up, kind of early or whatever. But nobody told me that I was supposed to be perfect. That's a bunch of bullshit. I picked that up myself somewhere along the way, an unreasonable expectation on myself. And when I did that, I applied it to others as well. I really get what the big book talks about with that, because I expected that out of me. Therefore, how could I not expect that out of you? And that created a lot of problems. And I don't know that it was so much ego, although I was an arrogant person. But I just, my perception of how I was supposed to project to the world was that I had my shit together at all points in times. And if I didn't have an answer, or if I made a mistake or whatever, that I would be viewed as stupid, ignorant, less than, and I was wrong. I was wrong. Or if I was right in scenarios and people view me as that because I don't know something, or I've tripped and fell, or I've done something, physically stupid or whatever, had a little bit of a weirdo, situation, and they viewed me as that, well, those are probably people that aren't close to me, and that's okay. Maybe them people are right. I don't view it as they are any longer. I view it as I am human. I have many, many defects. I will make many, many mistakes as I go forward. And that is part of life and growing and changing, in my humble opinion. I try to pride myself on one thing these days and try to really keep that in check, is to make different mistakes as I go forward. I make a mistake, man, no problem. We don't know what we don't know. I never owned a crystal ball, even though I was hard on myself to believe and act like that that I thought that I should have. But these days, if I make an error, that's human. It is what it is. Growing opportunity. I make the same one again. I gotta look at that. There's some causation behind that. There's some motivators behind that I really need to look at. I pride myself on making different errors as we go further. I figure, like, if I'm not making mistakes or making some errors in my journey going forward, I ain't living. I'm not trying, and I'm not trusting my higher power. Because I ask which way you want me to go. When I go outside and keep my eyes open, and sometimes I get it wrong, but I typically know that in my guts if I've pursued something that wasn't maybe given or presented to me by my higher power. But more times than not, if I make that error or whatever, man, it sticks these days. I ain't got to put my hand on the stove 500 times. Addiction's about the only thing that I ever did that with. Most times, if I put my hand on the stove and it was hot and it burnt me, I didn't go back to the stove in that situation. Addiction wasn't like that for me. I tried to change the stove. I tried to check out the wood stove. I tried to check out the electric heaters. I was trying to find all kinds of scenarios that were similar in addiction that wouldn't burn me. Never found one. So anyway, I'm rambling. Thank y'all for joining. Please come back tomorrow, Lord willing. If I wake up, we'll do it again on a Sunday. Please subscribe, like, share, tell a friend, whatever you feel drawn to do. Either or, I'm glad that you joined me. Thank you much. Have a blessed day and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.